Hey, this is hi. Hey's not very nice. I'm sorry. Hi. Good afternoon. Forgive me. Let me just verify. Turn it off. Let it ring upstairs. Um, this is Monday, March 30th, and for 2020. For those of you who haven't heard, President Trump yesterday extended the lockdown until April 30th, and I just was on Facebook and saw that Maryland is being locked down effective immediately, Virginia as well. With that kind of a lockdown, even if I have papers saying that I am needed, I'm not sure what's going to mean for me. So appreciate prayers. Will was tested again today, and it should pass for all the bleach I poured in there. Trying to get that bleach out, folks. It was awful. I ran the water and ran the water and ran the water. I'm so thankful I don't have a water bill. I have my well, because if I had run that much water, my water bill would have been hundreds of dollars. So I was just reading something on Facebook. I mean 2 minutes ago, from Jeremiah Johnson. He had a prophetic dream, and he said, he just posted this today. He said, last night in my dream, I found myself at a White House briefing with Donald Trump, Mike Pence, and Dr. Fauci. The president was making an announcement to the United States regarding COVID-19. As he began to encourage the people with a message of hope and promise, suddenly Dr. Fauci turned into a big rat the size of a human being. Alarmed, I ran to the side of the stage and saw a line of men dressed in fine clothes, many of them not American, who were standing behind the doctor, handing him large sums of cash. God spoke to me. Now remember, this is a dream. God spoke to me immediately in the dream and said, even now there's a plot to turn the president into a political puppet. Boy, I sure see that. When I have given him a prophetic anointing to decree with authority. The month of April will determine the re-election of Donald Trump, as there's a satanic agenda being loosed upon the USA to cripple the economy and turn the people against the president. Boy, I hope you can see that, because I sure do. There are time frames that will seek to be stretched to move far beyond my plans, God said. He continued to speak, watch the states. COVID-19 has opened up the door for great division and mutiny in the United States. Governors will oppose the president in the days ahead, and there will be a great spiritual battle for this nation. I hope you're ready to be part of taking it back, right? You must understand this battle is concerning authority. You must pray that Donald Trump does not receive counsel except by those whom I have sent to him. For I will expose every agenda and every plot of the enemy in the coming season. Jezebel will be thrown down in Washington, D.C. That controlling, conniving, divisive, and seductive spirit that comes to castrate this president will not win. They could not impeach him, so now they will attempt to publicly assassinate him through trapping him in his words and speech. He will decree, and then they will try to disarm. What comes out of the mouth of my people in these days will determine many days and seasons, says the Lord. I woke up from this dream, and God audibly spoke to me at 3:30 in the morning. I was gasping for air and immediately received an open vision in my bedroom of a muzzle being put on President Trump. I wrestled in the spirit realm for several hours, fighting for the authority God has given him to be manifested in the United States. I then wrote down several prayer points I'd like to share now for your consideration. That's as far as I got reading it, but I'm going to continue to read these prayer points and hope that you'll either listen again and take notes, or go ahead and grab a piece of paper and write this down. Pray that any voices that President Trump is currently receiving counsel from concerning COVID-19 that are not from God would be silenced and exposed. And I'm going to add that he has the discernment to be able to tell the difference. Pray that any agenda, whether it be economic or political, trying to attach itself to the COVID-19 pandemic would be torn down. We must recognize, this is number 3, there is a fight for authority in the spirit realm. God has anointed this president, and the decrees he makes must not be disarmed and reversed by the enemy. I mean, how many times do we see the president saying something and Fauci comes running to the podium to counteract it? Donald Trump made a decree that by Passover, actually he said by Easter, many sectors and spheres would be opened up. Days later, yesterday, that prophetic decree was overturned and reversed. The enemy is at work and an alarm must be sounded. Keep your eyes and ears specifically on this battle for his words. And I've heard also that he's speaking in code. So we need discernment to know, whose side he's on and what those code words are and who he's coding them to. We must pray that any muzzle this is number 4. We must pray that any muzzle trying to be placed on Donald Trump's mouth be broken. We're currently in the Hebrew year 5780, which is the year of the open mouth. May the president's mouth be opened, and may he speak righteous and wise decrees in the United States. May the church open up their mouths and speak forth the word of God. And number 5, we must pray for the spirit of Jezebel to be thrown down in Washington, D.C. Now, I've been doing that a lot, although I haven't done it much most recently. This public assassination attempt on President Trump will not succeed. We must declare that any financial crisis and hardship the U.S. endures will not turn people unnecessarily against him. 6, we must pray for our governors and local authorities. Beware of the spirit of division and mutiny that will seek to cause confusion and chaos in the months ahead. 7, we must carefully guard our own mouths and choose to speak life, blessing, and prosperity over our cities and nation. May we remember our wrestle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the powers, against the world forces of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places. That's Ephesians 6:12. Our online source comments and says, rats in dreams symbolize slavery and financial loss. It is believed that rats were programmed by Satan to put people into debt and commit great sin. The intent is not to demonize Dr. Fauci, but rather we must recognize an agenda at work clearly contrary to the purpose and plans of God. With urgency, fasting, and prayer, Jeremiah Johnson. So that was a little shocking to read. I'm in a group on Facebook, Project Fast for America, and that's where that was posted in case you guys want to look it up. There was something a few days ago that I'm scrolling down to find, because I was talking to somebody this morning. I got a phone call, and it was we were discussing some things that are happening behind the scenes, kind of happening before our eyes. If people don't want to see something, Larry has told us very often that you could watch somebody be martyred right in front of you, and if the mainstream media or people in authority tell you that what you saw is not what you saw, people are going to tend to believe that. We're so programmed now by TV that what you think you see is not reality, that we've been programmed to be very easily, sorry, my glasses are so dirty I can't see. We've been programmed to question or to believe things seem real and you realize they're not. And so when something is real, and I don't mean Israel as in the country, and when something is real, we sometimes wonder if it's true or not. So we need to be that's even worse, very much in prayer for discernment, that we will know the truth, be able to discern the truth, and see what our president is doing and see what's coming at us. And Miami, South Florida, has issued a quarantine now for everybody until mid-May. And if the virus supposedly dies in the heat, why do they have to go so long? Because they already have hot weather. And I found out this morning with a phone call that the IRS is closing and sending everybody home. Did you find out anything more about that, Elly?
I've been on the phone. That's why I'm late. I've been on the phone. Oh my goodness. Between the IRS and the stock people and pretty much the IRS and stock people since I was on the phone with you. I mean, call after call. They said the IRS offices in New York and California are probably going to be closed down. Let's see, what do I got here?
Say
IRS.
it again.
Okay, the IRS is still open. Some states are closed, but the main IRS federal office is still open and still working on Social Security numbers for the checks. The Little Rock office that I called, they were open, which, I figured they would be closed. They also said they are still processing claims to the main office. They're still in contact. They're still issuing checks out of the main office. They are still taking calls from people that have not filed their taxes and getting their numbers. They claimed what they said was there will be a delay for those that didn't have IRS claims or pay taxes. If they didn't, then it's going to be approximately 3 weeks for their checks. If you did file taxes, and even those that are separated, you're still on file, and that you will get your checks within a week to 2 weeks. As of this morning, they are swiftly working on the IRS numbers to start issuing the checks. Now, this came from the Little Rock office. This came from my friend in New York that works there, I told you about. My friend, I'm going to call her Zen. She's one that was doing the audit on the nuns when Obama had went for the Catholic Church. And she said, as of this morning, she has 1,000 numbers that she is processing for these checks. And she works out of New York. So, she's processing at this point. She said she was able to get 50 done this morning, but there is 27 of them in the office. And she said, that's just the big office for this would go to, they're going in alphabetical order. So she has got a lot of the A's, but she said after lunch, she came back and her office was given 550,000 Social Security numbers to start processing and to be split up. She says there's approximately, she said right a little over 2,000 that work in the main office branch where they do the claims. And they're now sending everything over to them for it all to be split up. So at this point, she said, now she even verified it, from what I had called on. So I asked her, are the IRS offices closing? And she said, yes. There are some in some states that are definitely closing down due to employees having the coronavirus in the offices. And she suggests that everybody just keep calling the 800 number or get a hold of one of your local offices that does your IRS, I'm trying to think, Hewlett, I think, or we have Liberty Tax here. I know that Walmart has tax places, and she says if you have really great fears, call them, and they can even take your numbers and make sure you're put on that list. But as of this morning, according to my friend Zen, they are processing checks. So that's a good thing. The stock market guy said, and I called quite a few of them. He said the thing about it is we got to look at the stock market crash of 1929 through the 30s. And he said that was a banker thing, a banker fraud. It wasn't considered a what we would call a disaster. And that's what this is. And he says back in 87, when we went down again, that Congress had put in a law that is put in case just in case of another crash, and that it's written to the point where one central bank, if it looks like the stock market is tumbling, they look at one specific bank, and he said pretty much it would be either Bank of America or Citibank that would catch the falter on our banking, and that as long as you have a bank with the FDIC, you're protected. If your accounts aren't protected by the FDIC, you would be the one that could possibly lose the money. They said, like this guy said, over in Greece when they lost all their money, it wasn't FDIC type of protection, and not only that, there wasn't a bank to catch the fall. So he says, this guy here, he quoted, I believe it was Proverbs, and he says, trust. You must pray and have faith God will answer, and trust in the Lord with all your heart. And he said, the thing is, I wish I could remember. It was Proverbs 3, Mary Ellen, if you know it.
Yeah, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding.
Bingo, that was it. Don't go on your own understanding.
In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths.
Bingo. And that's what he quoted to me. And this was a stock guy. And I said, oh, you're a Christian. And he says, well, I don't know the Bible real well, but I have that on my desk. And he said, and that's the way to be. He says, we got to trust that when we pray, that we have to have the faith that he won't do this. He won't answer your prayers on your time. He'll answer the prayers on his time and what he feels is deemed necessary. So, this is really looking good. Miss Rendy, sorry I have to say that. I've lost her number, and I would like her to call me sometime today because I was trying to get a hold of her. So Rendy needs to call me later. But, Mary Ellen, when I talked to all these people, I called, the different IRS places, and I called the stock market, the people with the stock market, and I didn't call just my friend. I called the people that are that are taking care of our 401k that we've got. My family has got, my daughter, her husband, and my friend here. We won't go there, Mary Ellen. And he was the one that was telling me a lot of this. And then I called a couple others. I called Edward Jones. I called Fidelity. I called, there was another one I called. And they're all basically saying, even if the stock market crashes, that doesn't end our economy. Because as long as there are manufacturing that's still producing, we are seeing an up and down. He said, we're going to be okay. And that even in the crash in the 29 and 30s, we used Congress and Senate to pass laws to pay everything back. Now, we all know that Trump has got a gold backing now. Not only do we have a gold backing, but we even got an oil backing. and even some of our wheat and rice and the stabilizers of the farming industry. And I tell you what, y'all, I am not real good on all the stock stuff, but talking to all three of these different investment places, I'm learning slowly. I'm just a dummy at it. I'm like what do they call that? The book of dummies for dummies. Well, I'm going through the book of dummies for the stock market, but I didn't get the sense that we are going to crash, that the country's going to fall. We can always resort back, and this was mentioned by Fidelity. We can always fall back to printing money. We can always fall back on it, on what Obama did and what was done in '87, I believe. And that's pretty much what they did. But they said the stock market that's going up and down, up and down, up and down. They said it's only because of the unemployment rate. Of course, it's going to go down because that's a loss. If businesses close, it's going to go down. If things look good, it's going to go up. And anything that our president says that is positive, it'll still go up. And I believe as long as we all stay positive, we're all going to get through this. It is, and then I had to call, I called the health department here like I always do. I told you, Mary Ellen, I've been on the phone today. I called the health department. They said the numbers are dropping. The problem is the surge we are seeing is due to, like I told you on the phone, it was the spring breakers, it's the cruise industry, which was a new one that I didn't know about, and Mardi Gras. You got to remember, there's people all over the world that go to spring break, and there are some that go to Mardi Gras, and they're to blame for this newest surge. And we see it in states that have international flights, is going to be hardest hit. And they even, Mary Ellen, like I brought up to you, they even brought in the homeless. I'm gonna say we, as a whole, as the United States, we messed up when we moved the massive homeless into one camp. They were already having health issues. They even found, she said, we even found measles in the midst of the coronavirus and smallpox and tuberculosis. And this is a huge issue. And she said that after this is all said and done, we are going to have to address the homeless because they will keep this COVID-19 going. So really, everything that's put in place, and I even asked her, what about the massive National Guard and the troops coming in? And she said the issue with that, if President Trump has to close, let's say New York and New Jersey, that people will freak out and flee. That is why they're bringing some of them into certain states. And she said if we can keep people from fleeing and stay put, and if we go another, she said this is only an additional 2 weeks of what he added recently. And that people are freaking out because, oh, it's another month. No, if you look at it, he said Easter. So if he put it to the end of the month, that's only an extra 2 weeks.
No, it's an extra 3 from the 12th.
Oh, 3? Well, she said 2, and I didn't really look at the calendar. But it's only an extra few, and it's only due to the increase over the spring breakers, the cruise ships, because the cruise ships keep going back out. And we don't know if they're cleaning up their boats and they're reinfecting, but they should not even be moving. It's a virus waiting to happen on the water because they don't know who's going to get aboard and who's a carrier. And it takes really about 15 days to see if you do have the virus. And they are so begging. And she said she can't get across how even their department, we're talking my health department here, for people just to stay off the streets. If you feel you've got a cold, I said, well, I got allergies. And she said, well, even allergies, just stay away, have someone else do your shopping or have it delivered. She said, but until we get people quarantined to where we can start treating them, we can't spread it no longer. The cruise ships going out. No, the cruise ships, yeah, they have one that's been floating around with the coronavirus on it with, I believe, 3,500 people aboard. And you got to remember the cruises are in between 3 and 7 to 14-day cruises. They never should have went back out. And she's even said this, but it's only the president that can demand the cruise ships no longer set sea. And
well, he can block the ports because most of the cruise ships are not registered in the U.S., so they can avoid paying taxes here. So, the Disney cruises are registered in the Bahamas, for example. And is it Carnival Cruise, I think, is registered in Bermuda? Anyhow, we've had several people asking about Larry. I did try calling his cell phone today, and it went immediately to voicemail, which indicates it's turned off. I was given a landline as a possibility to be able to number to get hold of him, and that line was busy. But I suspect it's not because I suspect that the phone was off the hook. Is what my guess would be. But I did reach out to Mark this morning to see if he's heard anything, and we discussed a bunch of things, but he was at a doctor's office himself, and so, I never got back from him whether he had tried with this whole big. I think that's exactly what we're dealing with.
Mary Ellen, if we don't hear nothing this week, I'll go over there this weekend again. She invited me back. I've told you that. And I'll go
you've also said that there does seem to be an indication of in and out. So, and of course, I'm supposed. We'll see what I get to do next weekend. I have a letter coming by FedEx. I should receive it tomorrow or Wednesday. A hiring letter to give me permission to travel, but whether that's going to be acceptable to be hired for one of the essential businesses or not, I don't know. I just don't know. And what happens if I close? And then I understand that we're going into lockdown in Maryland and Virginia's going into lockdown, and I have to get through. Anyhow, things don't. My life's a little complicated right now, and I'm at a point now where, I can't throw up my hands because what can I do? It's going to be interesting to see what the Lord's going to do and how they're going to work this out. And I hate that we are just here, just as, aggregators getting information from elsewhere, but we do have the chance to interact with you, and you can give us your opinion on what we're discussing, and we can talk about it more. I saw Judicial Watch posted, I got a letter from them this morning, an email from them this morning, saying that Strzok and Page emails indicate, and they have like 100, Judicial Watch has gotten like 150,000 of their emails. And that indicates that there was 1 month between when the FBI realized Hillary's emails were on Anthony Weiner's laptop. A whole month went by before they got a search warrant to get his computer. So we see a lot of stuff going on there. Another article they had in that email was two of our aircraft carriers have been so poorly plumbed that the toilets clog up very easily, and it takes $400,000 to get them to flush.
Hmm.
Talk about flushing money down the drain. And another thing I heard
They just need to call Roto Rooter.
yeah, on the aircraft
They're
carrier.
a lot cheaper than that.
And yeah, well, look about the $20,000 toilet seats that used to be requisitioned.
Oh
And
yeah.
I understand Reverend Rodney Howard Brown has a warrant has been put out for his arrest for unlawful assembly, and he refused to shut his church down, and claiming that the Lord was going to protect. Now there's a pastor and a whole bunch of parishioners, and I can't remember if it was Georgia or Tennessee. I think it was Georgia, where a whole bunch of them got sick, and of course you got Northam and Cuomo, wanting the church doors absolutely shuttered. And in 2016, the church I was going to wanted to do a building project. I'm not against what they wanted to do, and it looks very lovely, and they have taken a historical building and trying to get that passed to be able to make any changes to a historical building you can imagine was quite a feat. They have done an incredible job. They were supposed to open for Easter. I don't know if they're going to make it, but they've done an incredible job of maintaining the historical look despite all the additions that they have put on. They've kept the bones of the original sanctuary quite well, and what they've added on has been done incredibly well. The Historical Society in the county was very involved in that. But back in 2017 when they were talking about it, I just thought, I see what's coming. I don't see any point in adding millions of dollars to the church's debt load and maintenance load if what's coming could very easily, sorry, I had dust flying in front of my face. If what's coming is the need to do nothing more than house church movement coming, like they do in China, where the house church is underground because they can't meet in churches freely anymore. And when I'm watching what's going on right now, and it's like, whoa! I know there's a huge Easter conference of some sort where a lot of different churches are working together. Anyhow, I think any community effort like that to do Easter the way, even if we're watching at home, I think that's a fabulous idea. And I thank God we have the internet, and we need to pray, folks, that the internet is not shut down on us, that we can worship the Lord, even if we're stuck in quarantine in our homes. That the gospel is going to go out, and it hit me hard today. This phone call I got this morning, wondering what the IRS was doing, if hearing that they were going to shut down, and how would that affect payments. And then this person was trying to get a small business loan from the Small Business Administration, went online to fill out the forms and had so many questions, and then couldn't get hold of anybody. Finally reached somebody with a foreign accent at the DC office. Now, whether they're actually in DC or abroad and the phone, forwarded to them, we don't know. But this person knew absolutely nothing to give any help on answering any questions on filling out the form. There's no guidance on, what you need to have and what information they really need. They just answering questions, and he had so many questions, and he called his local Small Business Administration office, and their phones are shut down and the office is closed. So, you know, when we were wondering what's going on with the IRS, what's going on with this, you know, with what we have learned about sending aid packages to foreign countries, like we saw happened in Ukraine, is the proof of it. And then seeing how much is done in the way of kickbacks. I mean, I read this morning that the 25 million that was sent to the Kennedy Center, 5 million has already been kicked back to the DNC. So, come on now. This is how much of this whole economic stimulus package is nothing but fraud for the elites. I don't know. And I just wish. That's, you know, it's like I am not going to give the devil any room in my life by going into fear. I am not. I rebuke fear. I am not going to do that. And that's why I reached out to tried to reach out to Larry today, because if there's any way he can give any feedback on this. But he knew that what was coming was so horrendous that he was not ready yet to let us know, because we couldn't handle it yet. But
Mary Ellen,
yeah,
there's something I need to address really, really quick. And James said something. I see people wanting to leave this channel if Larry's not here. Folks, Larry was in the middle of the Clintons. Now realize I had done run the same track as Larry, but from the outside looking in. And, you know, and I really feel Larry has faith in me to be able to bring you guys the info, the same as he would. Now, he has a lot better sources than I did, but he has always trusted me and that I had really, really good sources. And one of the things he said, and if you go back and you listen to Jason Goodman, and you listen to the pastor that he talked to, he says, Elly verifies what I say is true. And she has been there alongside with me, but not walking with me. So folks, I really hope you have faith and trust me that now that, you know, I've come to bring you guys the info, the government corruption, that you have a lot of faith in me that I can carry his torch until he gets back. I don't want nobody leaving the channel. Nobody. And I hope that you guys in the long run will learn that I know a lot of what's going on with the Clintons. I myself have had the threats. I myself have been watched. I have not been shot at yet, but I did have to get a gun for protection for me and my family. And I'm probably, if they made a new list, I would probably be on it also for the stuff that I do, because Larry tells the story. I go after the Clintons. I hound Hillary and Bill and Chelsea and Soros all the time. And I'm brave enough to do it. I'm just a little old woman, but I'm willing to fight, not just for myself, but for Larry Nichols. And I really, really hope that you guys do not leave this channel and do not leave his side at this point. Have faith in me, please. And, you know, if you have questions, because see, I've talked to Randy, and Randy was very surprised that, of what I know and the things I've been involved in with the Clintons, and realize the people I've gotten this from are very credible. These are police officers. They are detectives. They are some that was in the middle of the Clintons, like Larry. And I spend a lot of time just investigating and going after them. If I could go up and slap Hillary in the face myself, I would. I've gotten so close to her so many occasions. But please, folks, have faith in Mary Ellen and me to keep this going until Larry comes back and tells you what he wants to do. I live just a few blocks from him. We have been going by and checking. I at least now, like I told Mary Ellen, I got the foot in the door, but no, I got my whole self in the door. And his wife is very comfortable with me. She has invited me back. And, I can't be going over there daily or weekly. I give them a few weeks before I go back over. But please, have faith in us and have faith in Mary Ellen. And if you're leaving because of me, we need to know because I do have my own site and I don't want people leaving because I'm not Larry Nichols. No, I'm not. But I've been there. I've been there the same tracks. And if anybody has any doubts, you can call me. It's 501 269 3565. I will talk to any of you. It's best to call after 4 o'clock. And, if you have fears or you have questions of who I am, what I am, I will answer. But please, have faith in Mary Ellen and Larry Nichols that bringing me aboard is to help until he gets back. And then once he comes back, he can figure this all out and decide if he's going to carry on or if maybe he's going to have me come in and help out so he can give all he has and then rest. And I can maybe stick my foot in and say hi to you folks. But really, you need to have faith. Please don't leave Larry's side at this point. Okay?
Well, he will be back as soon as he has the ability to do so. He's not going to stay away any longer than he absolutely has to. And if he's not with us right now, it's because he has no choice but to do whatever it is that he's doing. I do know that even though there was a time when he was on the show every day, I can't remember if I was the one running the show then or not. But there was about 6 weeks where instead of calling me every day, I heard absolutely nothing from him. And he was very concerned for my safety because of how close I am to all the action here. And with my connection with him, that was 2018. And with my connection with him, he was very afraid of phone being traced and my getting a visit that would not work out well. So, he went silent on me. At least I was able to hear from other people that he talked to and get some information a little indirectly. Forgive me, I'm watching my neighbors. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe planting a tree, digging holes over there. But sorry about that. I'm a little distracted.
I have, folks realize, like I said, I have a lot of really good resources that are here, and I have some in Washington. I get a lot in Kenya only because I'm watching what the Clintons are doing in Kenya. And my brother Larry has worked for the government, him and his wife. And then my sister Beth even has resources with her family. So realize that, I'm not doing just talk because I would be shut down. And, even a couple weeks ago, I had a black SUV sitting outside. And I didn't know whether it was or wasn't. But my phone, I know my phone's tapped. I know they're listening. And, so it isn't talk. If you guys really want to know some insights, I can tell you insights. I just have to watch what I say because it could put me in danger. It could put Mary Ellen in danger. I know they're watching me going and coming from Larry Nichols' house. I know they're looking and keeping an eye on it. And, because you got to realize there are still people here in Arkansas that are the Clinton, they're all Clintons. They're still judges and police officers in place. And it's not a. I don't want to. I don't want to take Larry's what he does, but I can verify what he has said, and he loved that. He really did. And I really hope that you guys will trust me on it and trust my info. I have a lot of knowledge, and I gave you my phone number. If you have any doubts of what I know, or that I'm here to put Larry to the side, no. I talked to Larry a lot before he went down,
We need
and he even said he had information that he had that I really don't know that he was willing to give me, and vice versa. There was stuff he wanted to know that I had. So, it's not that I know more than Larry. I don't. But the resources that I get and some of the inside information that I not only give you guys, but also give my own viewers, is stuff that sometimes I risk my life to tell you. And I'll keep doing it. But, if you don't ask the questions, I can't give you an answer. So if you have a question on insights or what's going on behind the scenes with Pelosi, I've got friends there. If you want to know what's going on with Trump, or even stuff that's going on with Obama, we've looked into. And the biggest one right now we're looking into is Fossey. And just over the last week, we've been able to prove that he has been a good friend of the Clintons for a very long time. Not to mention he sends love letters to Hillary. I don't know why, but I don't know why he's in love with her, but he's in love with her. And that right there could tell you that he's not really working with Trump side by side, but he is, I think, observing Trump. And the things he keeps saying and we investigate is things that just don't seem to ring true. And, we're still looking into it. But not only that, he's good friends with all of the top Democrats. And I mean, if you don't think he's not rubbing elbows with Schumer, he is. He is a friend of Nadler's. You guys must realize Fossey, that's why Trump wanted to fire him. But when you got the best of the best, you tend to want to use them. I bet in the long run, and in time, when the documents start coming out, I betcha we find out he was involved in the deep state really deep, and they sent him in. So,
all right, Elly, we're going to have to wrap this up.
Okay.
Thank you for being
They
here.
can call me, though. Any one of you guys can call me. Just listen back and get my phone number and make my phone ring.
Remember, Larry told us before Trump even got the nomination that they would have to impeach him or kill him. And Larry has often said, it's not Trump, it's us. Anytime you want to talk about Trump, you talk about the American people. And with their wanting to do away with Trump, they're wanting to do away with us. And that's what we see happening right now. They are trying to get rid of us. They're not succeeding in getting rid of Trump yet, but they are working very hard to get rid of us one way or another. So we're in this together with this president, and we have got to stand by him. I listened to Lance Wallnau today, and I would recommend you listen to his new post on YouTube today. We are in, without a doubt, a spiritual battle unlike anything else in history since the time of Jesus Christ. The Garden of Eden, and then the time of Jesus Christ, and then now. This is what's that noise?
It's my message.
Okay. This is
I'm getting messages left and right today.
Yeah, this is the most
info. Everyone's info.
This is the most extreme time in history. And, we know we're building up to the end of days. And so this is spiritual battle, and God is giving us a last chance before he gives up and destroys us and gets too angry to allow any other mercy. This is our time to be seeking the Lord, to humble yourself, to turn from any wickedness in your life and keep a very short account and live righteously in a way that pleases God. So, yes, James, I saw what you said earlier. Uh, with that, I'm going to say God bless you. We will be back tomorrow. Appreciate prayer that I'll pass this water test. And I mean, there can't possibly be any bacteria in there, but I just hope I was able to get the bleach out before enough so that they could take the test without it interrupting the results. So, God bless every one of you. Thank you for being here. And don't forget your prayers for Larry and the president and our country. Remember him. But remember what God's told me. We are to thank God for what is happening. That is more important than anything else. With all that, James, that's awful. Yeah, wash your hands. And God bless you. We will talk tomorrow. Bye.